excuse me, Mr. Twasije, put on right, we don't see you properly. Twasije Patrick. Sorry, Hannington and Helen.
No, it's okay.
Mr. Sia, you can unmute yourself and.
Yeah. Members, you are welcome. I hope you get me. Hello, members, are you getting me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear, good. And our agenda today is going to be read by Helen Agava. Then there I will come in and then we're going through the proceedings. Helen, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, members. You're most welcome. Yeah. We are delighted to have you at this time. You know, it's a tough time of jam. People are leaving offices, they are leaving their workplaces. But we are grateful that you have logged in and others are still coming. They are going to log in and join us. So we are delightful to have you. Our agenda will be like this. We shall have a prayer and then communication from the Electoral Commission Chair, Mr. Hannington. And then we shall go straight to the content of the day, that is presentation of the manifesto from the different nominees, where we shall begin with Vina John Friday. Then we have Vina Tutembe and Vina Twesje. Vina Tutembe will speak first. Twesje and Tutembe are in the competitive positions as the vice chair, but we shall first hear from Vina Tutembe. Then after Vina Twesje, then we're supposed to have Dorothy, but she said she's up country in Kano. But I understand she sent you plus the write-up, but we are trying to still get in touch with her because we would like to hear from her, verbal words from her, because we have a strong feeling that the leadership in Vine is a vital content. So we shall have, if it's possible, she will also talk with the rest of the nominees tomorrow. But if she cannot do it because of network, it is understandable. We shall go by the audio and also her write-up. Then after Vina Twesje, we shall have Valence as the vice treasurer. Then after the presentation of the manifesto, we shall have a discussion from members. That's when the questions will come in, just a discussion as you hear questions, clarity, understanding, sharing, like that. Yeah, we shall have before we leave the chat room. That's all. That's our agenda today.
Okay. Thank you, Helen. Members, thank you for turning up for this very important meeting. I welcome all of you, and I hope as we move on, others will be joining us. First of all, I have to thank the members whose names have been read for having shown interest to take leadership in the management of Vine for the next 2 years. I particularly thank my election committee members, Evarist Magara and Helen, who have really worked so hard to make sure that we move in a very swift way. But more importantly, to thank our technical person, Mary, who has been able to support us technically with the Zoom so far. Today is a very special day. It is a day for listening to members to show their manifesto, so that members get the confidence on which direction each member is taking Vine. And as usual, we shall start with the incoming unopposed chairman. But also after that, we are going to share with you the voter education, which I'm sure you are all aware that on a Friday, same time, we shall be going through a voter education. And for the exercise to move very well, the manager Vine is going to share a list of our names, our email address, and our Vine numbers, which will be key as we will be going through the voter registration, voting on Saturday. The D-Day for the voting is Saturday. And since we don't want to crowd the time, and our thinking is that we take from 2:30 to 5 as the time for voting so that members have the flexibility to vote at their own time. And what I would say that when it comes to 8:30, we open the system and we close it at exactly 5, so that by 7 or before you go to bed, we shall have the announcement made. With that, members, and without wasting the time, I now call upon our own, the unopposed, Mr. Friday, to share with us his manifesto. Back to you.
We've missed prayers.
Oh, Helen would have prayed for us. Can we go to prayers before Friday comes in?
Yes. We begin with a prayer and end with a prayer. Okay, we pray in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving Father, we thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for having given us this opportunity to be together in the chat room, to share ideas, and an opportunity to listen to the members that, Lord Father, you have bestowed leadership onto, because Father, we know leadership comes from you. So Lord Father, we ask you to guide us today, to guide them, they share with us, so that we gain confidence in our circle through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Now, officially, I invite Mr. John Friday.
Chair, can we know the timeline? How many minutes is he given and the interaction that we also need so that we manage the time properly?
Oh, I think as a chair, he can manage in 4 minutes. Others,
So
we shall give them 3.
10.
No,
So we
that's
give
too
each
much.
10. I mean, including the interactions or contestants.
Oh, okay.
3 minutes, they seem to be too few.
No, why
5.
not? By that time, you will have pushed your points forward. Otherwise,
3
members are not,
minutes. Okay.
we may end up spending a night here. Okay, let's give 5.
Yes.
For members to speak out, and then we allot another 5 for discussion. Friday,
Okay.
come over.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Chairman. I hope I'm being heard.
You are.
Thank you. Chairman, I'm making this submission in line with the Constitution of VISICO Limited and in accordance with the election roadmap that was issued by the VISICO returning officer. I express my interest and willingness to serve as a chairman board for VISICO Limited. Chairman, based on my experience in the company, I'm ready to serve and add value to the company to compel it to sustain its growth. It has been growing over time irrespective of the challenges that we're facing. And as a colleague, I take the honor to appreciate the fellow shareholders for the trust to have allowed me remain unopposed till the close of the applications by the Electoral Commission. Mr. Chairman, I will endeavor to deliver to your expectations, to all shareholders' expectations, although the mantle remains for all investors that we move the company together, because you can never work alone as a film star. But I really want to thank you once again for giving me the support to make this submission unopposed. Chair, there are areas of focus, given the opportunity that I'm looking at. I want to focus so much on the transparency in the transactions the incoming body will handle on behalf of the shareholders, expecting to build further cohesion and growth. And I'm optimistic this will encourage shareholders to invest more and we all grow together. Because we joined this one together to grow and have some returns as we move forward. And Mr. Chairman, since the company is built on the social networking pillar, I will encourage more social networking among company shareholders by having meetings at their residences. Once the guidelines on the size of gatherings improve from the current limit of 20 members at a particular meeting. You remember vividly, Mr. Chairman, that long before COVID-19 came in, we had slackened a little bit at hosting members at our various residences. And it is not uncommon to find that some of us really don't know each other. And yet the objective was that we come together and we network. I promise, given an opportunity, to reinvigorate this one when the limits are cleared regarding social gatherings. I also, Mr. Chairman, promise to encourage shareholders to continue to respect each other, irrespective of diversity. We are people of different backgrounds. We are people of different exposures. We have differences in our shareholding, but we remain one family. And that's why I say, irrespective of diversity, we should all be able to respect each other. There's no way you say the board, because I'm a member of the board, I'm above the rest. We are all the same that have come together for the common objective, to grow. And given the size of the company, which is expected to be growing, I promise more independence of the company through having an office. The current office is shared by other organizations. I would love, given an opportunity, obviously with the approval of the OGM, to have another location that's agreeable to all members for purposes of conducting our business as an independent institution. Mr. Chairman, I promise to advance the best practices desirable for the task, and I uphold the rules and the principles of fairness, transparency, and strict adherence to the dictates of the VISICO Constitution. Chairman, I want to thank you and I submit.
Thank you very much. Members, you have heard the focus, and he has been able to meet the timeline of 5 minutes. Can I invite some reactions, compliments?
Let him first show us his picture.
Yes, John, can you? People would like to see you. There he is.
Are you seeing me?
They are.
Oh, we see you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
members.
aging, but the brain is still there. Give me an opportunity to serve.
We already gave you the opportunity.
Thank you.
Kanatidiro y'umwana mwene afite wabamizeyi bose.
No,
Nakura.
because of time, can we really make a reaction?
Yeah, I see Mr. Kalembe's hand is up. Let's first listen here from Mr. Kalembe.
Thank you, Chairman, for this organization. And thank you, my brother and elder John Friday, for the wonderful presentation. I am asking a very simple question. You may have hinted on it, but perhaps more strategies on how you intend to sort of, one, the issue of members not saving at the speed at which we want. Two, how you intend to deal with the issue of members who use their share capital to clear the debt, to clear the loans or the company obligations. And then three, at the end of your 2-year term, what are your projections? Where do you want this company to be in terms of growth? Of course, we have achieved the numbers, but in terms of the share capital growth. Thank you very much. And congratulations.
Can we have a second one? Shall we have 3 people?
Yes, Mr. Stanley's hand is up. Tebakachi. Stanley. Network.
Stanley Tembo Muti. Stanley Tembo Muti. Stanley Biale Matembo Muti.
As he's climbing the peak, can we let Uncle Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman of the Electoral Commission of VISICO Limited, for the job well done. So far, so good. And thank you, incoming chairperson, Mr. Friday. Your presentation was quite good. You are very clear and authoritative, which is really one of the first requirements of leading a group of people like Vine. Mr. Chairman, I would love you to be more on voter education. You can see that our attendance is below 30 or about that. And they would like to have more at a moment like this, to have more people attending and more enthusiastic in voting the leadership that is deserved by VISICO Limited. Mr. Chairman, in the coming Friday, your presentation is brief. May I know how you intend to improve on the backbone of the VISICO Limited, and that is the investment portfolio. We have 2 major investment portfolios, that is saving, borrowing, lending and borrowing, but more so, how do you intend to do better in the area of other investment ventures? Thank you, Friday and Chairman.
Yeah, is Twesige up? Or we invite the third person before Friday responds?
No, I'm not up.
Okay. So can we get the third person, if any? Now let me invite John Friday to respond. The issues are 4. Yes, Friday.
Thank you so much, Chair. I hope I'm being heard.
You are.
And I want to thank members that have raised these pertinent issues. And thank very deeply Mr. Kalembe, Dr. Kalembe, that is very far from this place. On question number 1, members not saving at the speed. You all very well remember that up to 2019, the company was doing very well. But when we started facing problems of lockdown and the businesses stopping and slackened growth, that's the time that the speed of saving moved down. This was exogenous, it was not intended. If there's anybody that has big savings right now, must be living in another part of the world. So this is a factor that is affecting everybody, but as shareholders, we all came in together for a common objective to grow our share and to grow our savings. But the only unfortunate part is the environment we're operating in. You cannot say you operate outside the rest of the world. We're all faced with a problem. We only remain optimistic that the situation will improve and people begin to work and be able to save. You cannot save when your earnings are not good. So we could have been asking this question, perhaps forgetting the environment we're operating from. Using the share capital to clear loans, I think this one is only used at a time when you have failed completely to pay for the loans. And the do nothing alternative is utilize the share capital to clear loans. I'm also a victim. At one time, I was the surety for some colleague who got a loan, but he got some financial problems, and my share capital was reduced massively. But because I know the reason why I joined VISICO, I persisted, and I'm still a member. So this is a punishment. I don't see it as a reason to clear loans utilizing a share capital. We all have loans, and we have been clearing them slowly, but with difficulty. If all is well, if the environment improves, at the end of the 2 years, if we have grown by 20%, I think this is the target, given the operating environment we're in today, is a target that I'm looking at. It's an ambitious target that I'm looking at the top leadership of the VISICO board. On the investment portfolios from Elder Bujara, we have been investing in land, which was giving us good returns, irrespective of the difficult times sometimes we go through. You remember something that brings returns does not come easily, and you never earn much if there are no risks involved. We have invested in land, and some of us have managed to get some pieces of land, and we have also got some money, and we have got some good dividends. If our savings were good, I would propose that we look at investing in unit trusts. And if they also improve, then we can consider to go into treasury bills, because they don't have so much risk and you are sure of the returns. But I think what's returning us now is that the cash flow has not been favorable. Let us improve the cash flow, then you can be able to go into investment portfolios that can strengthen the company. But I'm looking at unit trusts and then eventually treasury bills, keeping the investment in land ongoing. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, I think because of time, we try to move to the vices, and we shall start with Mr. Tuesige Patrick. Thank you, Friday. We invite Mr. Patrick Tuesige to start by sharing his manifesto. Patrick, the floor is yours. Patrick, is he on top of that tree or he has fallen off?
He has not yet unmuted himself.
Oh. For that matter then, can we reschedule him next? And then we invite to Tembe Patrick.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Maybe they are together.
Yes, Patrick Rutembe.
Hello. Yes.
Hello,
Yes,
we hear
Patrick.
you.
Put a video.
I'll post my video shortly. I have just from where I was seated because of some noise coming from an external party. But I'm going to return where it is light and put on my video. I'm clear. Hello.
Hello, we hear
Yes,
you.
we hear you very well.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear Viners, my name is Patrick Tembe, and I'm offering myself to serve on the board of VISICO as the vice chairman. I talked about myself briefly, but for emphasis, my profession, I'm an economist, and I have served on the VISICO Investment Committee as a chairman for the current term. And I also have served on different other associations, including currently serving as a member board of trustees for the Fountain of Peace Children organization. What brings me to Vine? My interest in Vine is to contribute to the growth, resilience, and sustenance of Vine as a strong and growing company that fosters the social solidarity of members, but also growing lending and financial and investment promotion for the benefit value of to the shareholders of Vine. I'm particularly interested in seeing the board and the membership of Vine putting a lot of effort into improving transaction efficiency in Vine. For example, I know that Vine is a lending company, and almost on a daily basis, there are financial transactions that are being undertaken, including withdrawals from the banks. And one of my key questions that I want the board to answer when I joined the board is to ask ourselves, why should signatories of VISICO be hunted to effect a transaction when we are in an era where somebody can sit on their desk, subject to guidelines and the policy, and then they approve transactions with the safety and security safeguards of technology in place. So I think for me, that is one area, because I know that it contributes to loss of time and diversion of the human and staff resources of VISICO. And I think that is one area that I'm passionate to see that we improve. But generally, I would want to see Vine being innovative and making better use of the money for members and returning a better interest for members. Secondly, and most importantly, I know that apart from lending, VISICO undertakes other investments, including purchase and resale of land, and the other financial transactions like unit trusts. So from my experience of the serving on the VISICO Investment Committee, I would want to promote a culture whereby we have investment targets and return targets from the alternative investment portfolio other than lending, such that at the beginning of every year, we have a target in terms of what we want to invest in alternative investments and the return that we expect to see, such that it is very clear even for the investment committee and the other structures of VISICO that what we are working towards, and we have a clear work plan on how we are going to effect it, so that members have a strong basis for judging how the board and the rest of the structures of VINE are performing against the targets that are set annually for purposes of realizing a sizable return from members, subject to risk consciousness and the risk mitigation measures. Again, very importantly, the solidarity of VINE and social capital is what brings us together. I know that we have been having ordinary general meetings taking place in people's homes, which have been affected by COVID disruptions. But we hope that very soon we shall be able to return to normalcy. But in addition to the hosting and the social interaction that has been existing, I would propose that we have a VISICO day, whereby all the members of VINE, we set aside the day. It can be a Saturday that is not part of the ordinary general meeting, and ensure that the members who can make time, most preferably all members, come together and we do team building as members of VINE, because we know that the reason why we came together is because we value the togetherness. I'd want to ensure that every VINER should be able to tell a fellow VINER by face and by name, and that is how we can maximize the potential that lies in the social capital that is in VINE. Transparency, need for transparency of leadership cannot be overemphasized. And for me, I think that this is one area where we need to work very, very, very strongly as a board to ensure that, one, we have the vision of VINE shared amongst all the board members of VINE, but also shared amongst all the shareholders of VINE, such that we take away questions like, is our money safe? Is our money working? Because the planning, it will be shared, the reporting will be shared, and also ensure that all the committees that are put in place are working independently to the satisfaction of shareholders. And if there is any challenge that any committee is facing or any member of the committee, we should be able to let people settle and step down, so that there is no member who makes a committee suffer simply because they have a misunderstanding either with the working of the board. So we need to improve that transparency such that everything goes forward without any forms of suspicion. With those few remarks, members of VINE and chairman and the members of the commission, I would want to request for the mandate of VINERS, support me such that we put VINE on the map, we grow VINE, we build a strong governance structure that will outgrow any board that puts the interest of members and shareholders in the forefront, such that we ask the important questions of where we want to be and how we are growing, rather than small questions, suspicious questions like whether our money is safe and whether our money is working. I thank you, VINERS, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, you have listened and heard. Any comment, clarification, question? The time is now. Annette, take over.
Members, can he show his picture? People would like to know, to see the person they are shooting questions to. Patrick would like members to see you. I myself, I don't know you.
Yes, I have unmuted my video.
Great.
Is my picture coming through?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I can see Katsime. Yes, it is. So we allow Katsime. Annette?
Hello.
Yes, Madam. Yes, please.
Hello. Am I heard?
Hello.
Hope I'm heard.
Yes. Yeah, you can
Yes, we
speak.
hear you very well.
Yes. Good evening, Viners. Present at the meeting.
Good evening.
Thank you,
Good evening.
Chairman EC and your team. I didn't get a chance to comment when coming chairperson give us manifesto. But Patrick, Vice Chairperson, I would like to know how your office will solve the problem of conflict of interest. For example, staff of Vine doing the same business within the office as it was previously or before, having a staff who is operating a money lending business within the offices of Vine. Two, how you are going to completely solve the problem of having ghost committees, because recently we had a chairperson of welfare resigning because of problems of being in office and other people are running the business. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Can we have another one?
That's Uncle Don. His hand is up.
Thank you, Chairperson Isley. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Patrick Tembe for his elaborate policy presentation, manifesto presentation. It's loaded with indeed innovative and alternative approaches of how he can contribute to the betterment of Vine as a company. I'm particularly impressed in the area of innovation of alternative areas of investment. Vine has mainly focused on lending and land, purchase of and sale of land. Other than that, together with the bills, the investment in treasury bills, Patrick, do you have any alternative innovation that you will be offering or giving to Vine for betterment? Secondly, there has been a very big challenge in the area of the independence of committees from the board. The board has been actually serving on both the higher level, the upper level and the lower level, which in the long run compromised the independence of decision making. And in that area, that monopoly tended to interfere with areas of procurement. Could you tell us how do you intend to make a very independent and a strong procurement committee of the company? Thank you.
Thank you, Labujara. Because of time, I would really request that Patrick Rutembe responds to those two people, their issues. Patrick.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Katsime Annette raises very important issues of conflict of interest. and ghost committees. I think that yeah, conflict of interest is one area that first of all causes suspicion amongst shareholders of Vine. And I think for me, there shouldn't be two ways about it. When we are dealing in financial transactions and we employ staff, it shall be very clear that when you are involved with Vine, you cannot be seen. You should not even be suspected to transact private business, especially lending business in the office of Vine. So to me, it should be a deal breaker for anybody that is willing to work with Vine. There should be a clear cut-off point. Ghost committees leading to resignations. I think again, this is really a challenge that we have taken if given the mandate as a board, that the committees should be empowered. And the empowerment of committees starts from the committees having an annual work plan. So if you're a loans committee, you should be able to know what report is it that you are supposed to be preparing every quarter. What is it that you are supposed to be assessing in the performance of the loans that are issued by Vine? If you're an investment committee, you should know that at the beginning of the year, you have a target of the investment performance that you are supposed to deliver to the Vine members. It should not be dependent on the whims and dictations of the board, but based on an annual work plan that is approved by the shareholders of the company, and of course pursued by the board and the committees. So I think for me, once the mandate of the committees is very clear, the committees should be able to initiate actions rather than waiting to receive orders from the board every time they have to take any action or to undertake any activity. So I think we shall try to strengthen the committees and ensure that the committees are working very independently based on a very clear and elaborate plan of work. That also relates to the issue raised by Uncle Don on the independence of committees. A committee, it's a committee of the board, but the reason why a committee is put in place with members that are outside the board is to ensure that the integrity and the independence of the individual members that constitute a committee and the experience and the expertise of these members should come to bear even on the issues that the board themselves may not be able to handle. So these committees should be respected and should be given space to operate, subject to fulfilling the targets that the members have set out for them in an annual work plan. And that should also sort out the issue of procurement, which I think mainly relates to the procurement of land, because that's the most procurable item that is currently in Vine. The alternative investments, we know that we have an investment policy. This investment policy was approved 2 years ago. And when we look at this investment policy, it has different asset classes with that Vine can invest in. But I think that there has not been very elaborate reference to this investment policy, because when you go to real estate, we have been mainly focusing on land for resale. But I just give one example, but there are so many examples. We know that currently there are people who look for very strategic locations and they set up petrol stations and they put them up for operation by third-party companies like Shell, Total, and you find that when you invest a lump sum of money like 500 million in a petrol station, that money is given to you at once for 5 years, and after 5 years you receive almost the same amount of money and then the asset also remains yours. So if we are looking at Vine that as a going concern, as a company that can last 50 years and beyond, there is nothing, for example, that stops us from looking for a suitable land, assess it, to go through the structures. We build we invest in a petrol station. We get Total, Shell, Haas, any other company coming to take up this petrol station. They give us almost our investment back for the first 5 years, and then for the subsequent 5 years of lease, they continue paying us, and still we even retain the asset as a property of Vine. So then there are warehouses which can also operate on a similar model. There are financial investments like treasury bills and bonds, and unit trust. So all of these are provided for within the investment policy. And I think that when we have an empowered investment committee and a board that is strategic, that lays down the medium term and the annual strategies, we should be able to lay down these alternatives for analysis and for recommendation and decision by the shareholders. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, members. I think we have all heard the response clearly, and I'm now calling upon Mr. Patrick to present his manifesto.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope I'm loud and clear.
Yes, you are. People would like to see you. Can you show your video?
The video there comes. I hope where I am, it is a bit, the light is not good enough, but I hope I can be seen. But dear Viners, my name is Tracy J. Patrick, Viner number 9, 51-year-old, married with 4 children. By profession, I'm a secondary school teacher, and the related activities to what we do in Vine, I have a lot of experience. I'm currently the chairman of Kashambia Kweyamba Group. I'm the chairman of Kainabiri Secondary School Staff Investment Club. I am a vice chairman of Nsambia Bikoyeho Obeho Group. I am a member to the Investments Committee of Traffic Investment Club. In Vine, I've served for a long time. From 2011, when the Vine started, 2015, I was assistant treasurer. From 2017 to date, I am the outgoing treasurer for Vine. Vine, which started in 2011, as I have said, has 2 main faces: the investment and the social. That's why it is called Vine Social and Investments Company Limited. Starting with the investment part, as I said, from a humble beginning in 2011, I've been a part of the core group, which have led to the development that we see today. And by 31st December 2012, the company had only 50 members with a total share capital of 35.2 million, meaning that each member on average had less than 1 million. But now we have developed to 100 members by July 31st and a share capital of 1.5 billion. In 2012, the biggest investor, who incidentally happens to be the current chair of the Electoral Commission, had 1.9 million. But as of July 31st, the biggest investor had a share capital of 80.4 million. This is tremendous growth, which I'm proud to have contributed to immensely. Our members have acquired the land through Vine, acquired, I think, more conveniently and more cheaply. They have also borrowed money and developed themselves. However, my agenda is to make sure that Vine gets a permanent home, and also Vine gets assets for itself. We have been buying land, distributing it to members, and Vine as a company remains with nothing. We have been building a fund, the reserve fund, which has now some reasonable amount of money. Given your mandate, I will generate discussions and considerations to make sure that we utilize this money to acquire a fixed asset for our company Vine, and also try our best to have a permanent home for our dear company. We also have offices which are rented. So if we get a permanent home, I think that one becomes easier. On a negative note, however, as far as investment and the economy of Vine is concerned, and as some members have noted, we have been losing some members who borrow and fail to pay, and we use their share capital, which share capital eventually reduces to zero, and we lose them. When we started, we did not think it started to be losing members, but unfortunately, along the way, these things come up. It's not because of inefficiencies of committees and the board, but for those who have been here for some time, you remember that along the way, we changed the loaning policy and created multiple products, which, if you remember, as a treasurer and finance director, I was vehemently opposed to, but as a board, we have to implement decisions by the general meeting. So what is the way forward? The way forward, given the mandate, is to generate discussions and see how we can review the loans policy and probably find a way of consolidating these loans into a single product. You also know that loaning now, we have another issue there which needs to be resolved. People should be given the opportunity to borrow according to their capacity. We passed another policy which says that if you are borrowing less than 15 million, for you are supposed to pay in lump sum. Now a poor person or someone who is not very strong economically, but can borrow 2 million and pay in installments, I imagine we need to give those opportunities. So given your mandate, I will generate discussions to make sure that these policies are worked on so that they favor members in borrowing and ease of repayment, and we could therefore avoid losing some members because of failure to pay loans. On the social part, I've said Vine has two faces: social networking. As the company develops, as the capital develops, as membership expands, unfortunately, social networking has not kept pace. And being a social company, meaning that we are supposed to stand together in the times of joy, in the times of sorrow. When a member is wedding, can Viners stand there? Contributing money enough, but rather money alone is not enough. We have seen in the past that when we ask for members to contribute, they really do hand some contributions, but attending becomes a problem. Recently, we even had a burial where Vine was the biggest financial contributor with over 8 million, but it's thinnest in attendance, as we were only about 4 who attended. You have seen it, VISICO Patrick, standing with those who have lost dear ones, attending weddings. Last time there was that photo which someone was commenting and thought it was character assassination. After sitting at a vigil overnight and you are dozing as the day breaks, but where are the rest of the members? So given your mandate, we need to go back on the drawing board and see how we can foster that social networking so that when there are issues, when we have events, good or bad, when members are in distress, the family Vine is standing by them instead of contributing money and keeping away. Secondly, on the social net, we have hosting. Chairman has clearly indicated the hosting has issues. Even before COVID, there was that issue where people were opting to host outside their homes. When we formed the Vine, one of the main objectives was to have social networking, not only among members, but also members of families of members. So that if VISICO Patrick has hosted and Mr. Shauka has attended, at the end of the function, normally we ask family heads to introduce their members. Even 5 or 10 years later, my child who will be moving around office to office may meet Mr. Shauka. Shauka may have forgotten him. Normally, it is not easy to remember those young ones. But he will come to you and touch your shirt, say, sir, I saw you in our home. And that is how we can expand the social networks to help ourselves and help our families. So we need to rejuvenate that social networking to make sure that we are together. So given your mandate, I am sure that if you have been keen to see me wherever you have been, I will make sure we generate discussions and agree on how to deal with this so that we stand there in the times of good, times of sorrow and in times of joy. The other area which needs to be handled is bickering among the members. Suspicion, as someone has put it. These are unnecessary suspicions. Now we should develop an attitude where if there is something which is not clear, instead of going public and maybe talk about something which may not even be true, we need to encourage our members to get to those concerned people and get clarifications, and we move forward. So we need to work on this. The medical scheme, all of us are aware that we have a medical scheme, but which I think is not doing very well. Given the mandate, I would generate studies to make sure that we probably have medical insurance for our members and our families. We make studies to find out, to do benchmarking and see which one can work for us, how much we can contribute. You know, these days, how medical services are very expensive. But if we are insured, I am sure we shall be healthy and we shall move forward. Then teamwork. I have mentioned it a lot, but does Tracy Patrick, yes? Tracy Patrick, does have the capacity to do these things alone anymore? Okay, I summarize. Teamwork needs to be fostered. Then, in as far as administration is concerned, given that we have now a brand new vice chairman, what kind of a brand new chairman, what kind of vice chairman does Vine need? One who is well acquainted with structures and operations of Vine, so that we do not have a body which is almost again starting from square one. Then independence of committees. Now currently, these committees are committees of the board. So the starting point, given the mandate, is to go back to the constitution and amend it so that we create independent committees. Dear members, I beg for your mandate to serve you as the vice chairman of Vine Social and Investments Company Limited. Vote Tracy Patrick. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tracy Patrick. Reaction, members?
Uncle Don's hand is up.
Don.
Thank you very much, Chairman EC. I want to thank Mr. Patrick Tracy for his presentation. Fast forward one, I appreciate that Mr. Patrick Tracy is a long-serving member. We appreciate his contribution, but modern democracies offer for alternative leadership options, and even culturally they say that if you don't remain too much on the floor, you may make a mistake. Or as Namunonga and Abasakshobia, how do you, Patrick, when do you intend to offer alternative leadership for the new blood to come in and also give their commitment, their leadership commitment to Vine? Two, we have investment portfolios which in your presentation remain conservative. That is lending and borrowing to purchase and sale of land, and then fixed savings. We appreciate that fixed savings, you save for 2 years. To raise 300 million on account, you take 2 years. You go and invest in land and you also give it out through installments, takes another 2 years. This is an investment of less than 500 million, which is taking a cool 4 years. That is, in my view, a little bit more conservative. Do you intend to improve on that? Because your presentation seems to be appraising only conservatism and dogma. I beg to ask those two questions. Thank you.
Then Engineer Feserman, your hand is up.
Thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate whatever our former Director of Finance or our Director of Finance has presented. I'm happy there's something he has added on Vine. Some stone at least has added on Vine. But you know, the vice chairperson of an organization like Vine is just by protocol. But by operation, the Director of Finance is actually too much critical than even the vice chairperson. Patrick, you have been serving as the Director for Finance. We have seen a drop down, a very serious, a steep one actually. The one with the highest gradient, where we have had some issues, where we have lost some membership. Members have gone to negatives. Members have actually, some have decided to hang up and leave Vine. Yet you know very well that our target is actually to have members increase, their share capital increase, but it is a reverse. It has been a reverse, and you have been a Director of Finance who actually oversees even all of these loans, all of these challenges you are talking about of saying you are going to improve this, you are going to improve this. You did not improve them when you were the Director of Finance. How are you going to convince me, or how can you convince me that actually when you become a vice chairperson, you are going to do more of what you failed to do when you were the Director of Finance? Yet the mandate was clear when you were serving as a Director of Finance. Thank you very much, members.
Thank you very much. We now invite, can we invite responses go to?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members who have raised these issues. First is asking, when do I intend to give opportunity to alternative leaders? The board has got a number of slots, different. One is in the finance, another is investment, another is what, and so on. Now, when do I intend to give opportunity to young ones? Of course, man grows old and retires. But before he grows old, if he is serving and serving well, must he retire because there is a young one who is coming? But two, if we are going to have new ones, I imagine if we are to develop Vine, we need a mix of young ones, sort of new ones, and old ones. If we went and decided to bring only new ones, it means we would have to go back to square one to 2011, where we were trying this try and error and so on. So we need also the old people who have been there to guide the new ones. And then with the time, of course, they will be phased out. Number two, of course, when you have been serving, you have answer. You have accountability to make. You cannot have been serving and you start from of what has been happening. Certainly are there, but time to enumerate them is not sufficient. Engineer Feserman, Vice Chair is by protocol. I do not believe that vice chair is by protocol. We have heard people in the past saying, for me, I was a second. I don't think that is what a vice chair of VINE is supposed to do. This is a team which is supposed to be working in solidarity. And otherwise, you would even want to say vice treasurer is also protocol. And for those whom I have suffered, yes? Hello? Do you hear me?
You are breaking. You are breaking.
Am I okay? Am I okay now?
Yeah, you are not fine.
Okay, so it is a team. And although I've been here, know that when I had the assistant treasurers,
Network issues.
We have worked together with them, and sometimes they have even presented reports, even when I'm present. So as vice chairman, it is a team on board. It does not mean vice chairman is going to be doing things that only has a certain area which is specializing in. And then lastly, a drop of share capital. The incoming chairperson was elaborate in telling us how times are hard. Share capital is dropping not because people wish to have their share capital withdrawn, but economically things are not working out properly. People are borrowing money and failing to pay. And eventually what do we do? But in my talk, I have also told you that one of the causes why share capital has dropped because of loans, were the loan products which were approved, which were created by the general meeting that we have been implementing. And I have pledged as an incoming, if we're given mandate, I have pledged that we shall have to discuss the loan policy and make adjustments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I think the members you've had, at least from the vices. Can we now proceed to the treasurer? Helen,
Yes, as we said it at the beginning, treasurer is Dorothy Bionanevye, but she said she's in Kanungu where network is a nightmare. And I understand she sent her audio on the group together with a write-up. So, well, as I said at the beginning, we are still liaising with her so that she can come in tomorrow with the rest of the nominees. But today we shan't be able to hear from her. We shall hear from the vice treasurer.
Yeah, we hear you. So can we hear from the vice, Alinaitwe Valles?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing
yes,
you.
Yes, please.
We want
yes,
to
thank
see
you so much.
Yes, we are.
Put your video.
My video may not be clear. I'm actually in jam, so I've stopped somewhere.
We are seeing you very well now.
Give
it's on
you
the traffic.
So I'm actually in a car.
Yes.
Okay, yes, thank you, the EC, for giving me the opportunity to share what will define the new as part of the VINE leadership. I'm called Valence Alinaitwe, and I work with Ministry of Water and Environment. I'm VINE number V087, and I've been a member of VINE since 2017. Within this period, I have seen VINE grow from strength to strength, and I have twice participated in the development of the VINE strategic plans, and of course, the evaluation. It was an element which I thought we were going to keep up, but somehow we put the foot off the pedal, and probably this could be the reason why we've somehow stagnated, because I remember at some point we had actually hit a 1.5 billion, but today I think we've gone down to around 1.2. as I serve Vine, I will support the treasurer in fulfillment of the core roles and responsibilities of a department, that's the treasury, as elaborated in the manifesto of the treasurer. I didn't want to pick what she was going to say and put it in mind. We'll work together to ensure that reports, the financial reports, are prepared and shared in time. But also, I'll spearhead the development of the strategic plans, since this has been one of my areas. I'm a true believer of group investments, and I belong to quite a number of investment clubs, stroke circles, you can call some circles. In my close interaction with group investments, I have learned some lessons which I'll bring to the board of Vine. Number one, there is always an issue of defensive approach to questions which stifles debates. We all know that debates with divergent views are healthy for a growing investment club. Of course, we all want positive vibes around us. However, for personal improvement, negative criticism is very important, even though it's usually hard to take in. I'll work with the other leaders to create an environment where everybody's opinions can be heard. Then in most groups, there is this element of voluntary service mentality. In a number of groups, you find some leaders who don't want to be held accountable because they feel they are offering voluntary services. I have offered myself well knowing the terms and conditions, and I believe the other board members also do. I know being a leader needs commitment. We have to attend meetings all the time, even when others are relaxing, but as a leader, you have to be there. But I also know there is a lot to gain as a leader in such a successful investment as Vine, which include unlimited access to information. You have access to information any day you want it. Popularity. It's actually satisfying when you go somewhere, when we are in a meeting and everybody is calling you by name. I heard Helen say that he didn't know Patrick Tutembe, but from today, Tutembe being the vice chairperson, everybody in Vine will know him. That's a plus, that's a benefit to some extent. So I offer myself knowing what I'm going to be paid, what I'm going to gain from Vine. So there is no excuse of voluntary services. Then we all know that, of course, in groups, there is always an issue of decision-making being a very complex issue. And in most cases, you find a smaller group of people who are vocal, representing everyone else. The rest of the members stop subscribing if they disagree with the decisions taken. As a member of the board, I'll work with the others to ensure that various approaches are employed to get contributions from as many Viners as possible as we build consensus on the kind of Vine that we want to build for the future. Then there is also this element of groups where leaders assume ownership of the group and the rest of the members act as subscribers. I've heard it in the questions, people asking, what do you intend to do for Vine? What innovations are you bringing on board? Vine is a diverse group. We have professors, we have very educated people, we have successful businessmen who have got ideas that can take Vine to the next level. So let's not leave it to the leaders, but again, everybody should be involved. Then in groups where transparency and openness is employed, you'll see growth year in, year out. Vine has done very well in this in this aspect, and somehow I always use it as my reference point. However, there is room for improvement. I'll build on what has been done by my predecessors to make further improvements on this aspect of transparency and openness. Yes, I know sometimes I talk a lot, but that's my motivation to keep up with my Vine financial obligations. By creating a situation where a good number takes interest in my status as a member. And that gives me the motivation to keep up. That gives me the motivation to keep saving in order to protect my name. Yes, there is an issue of the Vine strategic plan. We have to set our targets and ensure that these targets are translated to each and every member. A group is as strong as its individual members. If members are not subscribing, you don't expect leaders to make miracles. I mean, leaders are not miracle makers, but together we can build the Vine that we all want to see. So that's what I bring to Vine. And lastly, I'd like to thank all my nominators. At least whoever I contacted did the needful. I promise I won't let you down. I will serve Vine diligently as we all try to build the Vine that we want to see in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Valis. Just I'm inviting one person to make a reaction, if any, before I invite Stephen.
Uncle Don. Stephen is
thank you very much, Chairperson EC. I want to take this opportunity to thank Valens for his elaborate presentation of the manifesto. As I had observed before, it's indeed a new broom whose manifesto is loaded with new approaches. Some of the daunting challenges that have hitherto faced Vine Limited, especially he has made emphasis on voluntarism. Valens, the VISICO Limited, the board, previous board or outgoing board, had turned Vine into a money-making venture. The allowances for board members, regardless of the downtrend of the savings and the depletion of the dividends, the allowances have been on the upward trend from 10, 20, up to now 100,000, whooping 100,000 shillings. This indeed, it may be affordable, but it has a very big impact. It is a very big load on the meager dividends of the profits of the company. Now, with your good approach and emphasis on voluntarism, which was one of the core values of establishing Vine, do you intend either to relatively limit and manage properly the issue of the allowance syndrome in Vine? I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have any question to my brother Vares, and I only want to thank him for taking up the challenge. Most of us thought that his views would strengthen the board and also strengthen the management and running of Vine. And therefore, I wish him good luck, and I look forward to how he spearheads the new Vine to the best possible position that we want it to be. My brother Valens, you are most welcome, and thank you.
Thank you, Ghana Kalembe, and thank you for that vote of confidence.
Okay, Helen,
Yes,
seems
please.
you said that Mr. Kuni is not with us.
I had a
No, they are
question from Mr. Chair. I had a question from Don.
Oh,
about the
I was
board
trying to
members.
save you not to answer.
Ah, okay.
Yes. My intention is that by 9 o'clock we should close.
Mr. Chairman, I'm in.
Yes, good.
Mr. Chairman, I'm in.
Oh, you are welcome, Mr. Kuni.
Thank you, Bonde.
Yes, good. Unayo.
Unayo.
Please continue.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, fellow viners, a very good evening to all of you. This is meant to be a campaign session, but in the strict sense of the word, I'm not campaigning. As you all might know, I contested unopposed. Unopposed means nobody contested against you in the first term of service, and nobody contested against you in the second constitutional term of service. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank all of you for ring fencing, for reserving that slot for me to serve for my last term. The position is that of secretary. Fellow investors, fellow viners, I joined Vine in 2015. And since 2015, I have worked in various positions. One of them, I was privileged to be the chairman, the first chairman of the disciplinary committee, a committee that constructed the current policy on disciplinary matters. Secondly, after that, I proceeded and again worked as secretary, a position that I have held for 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, between you and me, I did not have any intention of contesting for that position. But I will assure you, deep inside my heart, I knew I had done a good job. And my fear was, should there be nobody else to contest for the position, let me present myself so that in the event that nobody contests, I will be available to serve. Truth came to pass. Nobody contested after I presented myself, and I thank the people that nominated individually, and thank the benefit of the members that might not know the person that is talking, commonly known as Ogun, Okuni, Stephen Lawrence, Erarakit Loederit. I'm a married person. I have worked over a period of time, but very closely, I would like to bring you to what is me to offer myself the upcoming term. The Secretariat is a very critical arm of any board. The Secretariat is a very critical arm of any organization. One of the things that I intend to do is information sharing. I have noticed over my 2-term period that one of the areas that has been leading to a lot of misunderstanding is the lack of information or the limitations in information for the people that are in Vine. What I propose as head of that secretariat and in liaison with the board is that on a very regular basis, we shall share issues of policy, we shall share issues of General Assembly resolutions that have been passed over time and possibly have gone out of the minds of members. We shall share these on a regular basis, call it even a weekly basis, so that we are all up to speed with what VINE is. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, Electoral Commission and members, is that I intend to continue to be communicative in a very timely manner and very proactively communicative to the members of VINE in regard to what is it that is taking place in the company, what is it that the board is mooting before it even comes to the General Assembly, so that at the Assembly, the members are considering what is already known to them. Members, the third area that I intend to focus on, we have had lapses in terms of the operations of committees. So much so that members sometimes thought committees are not independent, committees are working under the armpits of the board. This is a very bad, this is a very poor point of thought. My strategy as a secretariat with the person that will be elected to work as a secretary, an assistant secretary, is to ensure that the committees know what they ought to do. The committees know their mandate. The committees know to what extent of authority they can espouse. Number 4 is the issue of what is VINE. VINE as a company has a twin mandate, and the mandate being twin has 2 components that must have a very close intercourse, and that is investment and social networking. There is no way we can divorce investment from social networking. Neither can we divorce social networking from investment. I'm going to ensure that as a member of the board, we bring it to the forefront that everybody becomes a first-line participant in our investment regime and a first-line participant in our social networking regime. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from the incoming chairman, and John Friday, I warmly welcome you. You've heard from the incoming vice chairpersons, although the Electoral Commission chairman was calling them vices. Vice chairperson, either Patrick Tutembe or Patrick Tresije, it must be a Patrick as a vice chairperson. You've heard from the assistant treasurer. Ladies and gentlemen, in my heart, I'm confident this is a formidable team. This is a formidable team, but a team that will only succeed if the members play their part. What is the part of the individual members of VINE? Their part is to save. Save, save, save until it hurts. Your part is to borrow. Borrow, borrow, and pay back. Pay back on time, pay back on time, and lastly, social network. Mr. Chairman, Electoral Commission, my dear members, in the very recent past, what has gone on in VINE is public knowledge to all of you. We have had hiccups. We have had problems. We have had issues that have needed redress. Because of those issues, we have had individuals turning bad thoughts, bad words, bad actions from themselves to others. We have had groups, church bad actions from themselves to other groups. Ladies and gentlemen, Vine must stay. But Vine must not just stay, Vine must grow. The moment we are going into, the session we are going into, the year we are going into, the regime we are going into is a regime with the leadership of John Friday that is going to espouse reconciliation and forgiveness. There should be no bitterness from one person to another. Omutima gwa Vine ogutafa is what we are going to espouse. I'll share with you something that happened to me when I joined Vine. In Vine, for those of you that are new, you will not know that the Constitution provides for open entry and open exit. But silently, the Constitution does not provide for it, but silently among members, a member of Vine must be originating from Western Uganda. I'll share with you my personal experience. When I joined Vine, two members spoke out very loudly. The person who was joining Vine is called Okuni Stephen Lawrence. That name does not exist in Western Uganda. One member wrote, Vine has gone to the dogs. Another member wrote, no, Vine has not gone to the dogs, but the dogs have come to Vine. Now, these are the kind of issues that cause bad blood, that cause unhappiness and bitterness. That's why I'm calling for forgiveness. I'm calling for reconciliation. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Hannington Siahuka, Mr. Evarist Magara, Madam Helen Agaba, you have done a commendable job. Thank you very much. Members of Vine, thank you very much for standing in this process. And the more than 10 people that independently sent their nominations to the committee, the commission for my nomination, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, John Friday, I welcome you to the board. One of the Patricks, you are most welcome to the board. Dorothy, you are welcome. Valence, my younger brother, you are now in the driving seat. Thank you very much, brother. My assistant secretary, whether it will be Bosco or it will be Maria, come and we work, come and we work. Maria, Mebo Abigaba, you are welcome on board. Mr. Chauka, thank you very much. That is it from me for the evening.
Thank you very much, Stephen Okuni. Members, we seem to be, time is not in our favor. And Okuni seems to have been giving an inaugural speech. I would request members that we leave it at that. After all, I can see. Yes. So that I invite Mary and then Bosco. After Mary, Bosco comes in, and then we react.
Excuse me, Chairman.
I'm looking at
Excuse
time.
me, Mr. Shahuka.
Chairman, yes. We are talking of Shahuka?
No, yes, because we had 2 days for 2 different days for these campaigns. Today actually we're supposed to have only 4 people, only that Mr. Okuni has come in. Mary, Bosco, and Mabel, and maybe Dorothy for tomorrow, because it's coming to 9.
Fine.
And I'm sure members want to go, it's up, yes.
Yeah.
I'm of the view that we go to the closing remarks, if it is okay.
It's very okay. You have actually saved us.
Yes. Thank you so much, all the attendees, the participants. We are grateful. Yeah, the number is there, 35, 34, 33, but it's a good number. though we're expecting more than 50, more than half of the membership, but we're not complaining. Thank you for sparing your time. Thank you so much, our nominees that have really given us brilliancy, brilliant ideas in this meeting. Good enough, it is a recorded one. So whatever has been spoken will be followed up to the action or up to the implementation. We are grateful. So only that my worry is on the membership attendance, reservee voting, because if we are 34 or 33 and we are on digital and our voting is strictly digital, I don't know whether members are going to come in handy or in full participation and do voting. Members who are participants right now, go on also inbox our fellow viners, encourage them to vote. Because I always love this Napoleon quote, which says that the world suffers not because of the violence of bad people, but because the silent people, because of the silence of good people. So if people remain in the Kamori, especially the silent majority, and do not come up and vote, and then we put up our grievances or our dissatisfaction later, it doesn't make sense. So let's go to the inboxes and encourage our fellow viners, they come and vote, because voting is on Saturday, as the chairman has said, from 8:30 a.m. up to 5 p.m. So that is plenty of time for someone to get in access to a phone or a laptop and do voting. And good enough, there are only 2 competitive posts. That is the vice chairman and the vice secretary. So we encourage you to vote. Tomorrow we shall have the rest of the nominees. That will be Mary, vice secretary rather, Mary Amumpire, Mbabas John Bosco, then board member Mebo Abigaba, and perhaps Dorothy. So another communication is voter education. Today we are done with the voting app. Today we are going to send the link to the main forum with dummy names. We are not going to put the very names of the nominees, with the dummy names, and so that people, you can practice and you can do voting. And through the real practical voting using the link, you will discover maybe I call them strengths and loopholes or hiccups, and then you ask questions. So when we send the link to the group, please take part, try to vote. It will be just for test, for trial. And in case you have a question, please ask. And as the EC, we shall be able to respond to your questions tomorrow in the evening. That will be Wednesday in the evening before we come for the second campaign meeting. We shall be able to respond to the questions, because what did I want to say? Yeah, we'll be able to respond to the questions. So maybe for emphasis with this link, the voting link, we emphasize that members, when you're doing a trial, the testing, voting tomorrow, please make sure you use the working and recognized email address in the Vine database, that is in Vine database. Use strictly that one that you have always presented to Vine, or where you have always received information, information about Vine. Recognized and working email address. Also use recognized or the registered Vine number, because that Vine number is compulsory, that begins with V. For example, me, Helen, I use it, mine is V040. Then also use the recognized names in Vine database, Agava Helen. So when you have those 3, do a trial voting And then we shall share ideas tomorrow evening when we shall be responding to your questions. I think that is for now. We shall continue to interact on the main forum.
Now, Helen,
Yes,
I just
yes,
want
Chair.
us that we become very clear tomorrow. If I have heard you very well, I'm just emphasizing. Tomorrow we shall continue with the presentation of the manifesto for those who have not. What time will that be?
At 7 p.m.
Right.
Yes.
Then on a Friday, Friday will be again same time, voter education. Correct?
That one we shall communicate.
Okay.
That one we shall communicate, but I think most members prefer that time, 7 p.m. Yes.
Good, continue.
So members, you use the same Zoom link for tomorrow to come and listen to our other nominees. Then same time, 7 p.m. Wednesday. Thank you so much. Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
I hope you.
Thank you very much, EC, for the good job well done.
So you will phone number instead of email addresses, as some people have.
I would actually propose that we stop here because there will be another day for voter education. Thank you very much for your deliberation. And
I'm sorry.
Right, Helen, you can give us a closing prayer. Helen?
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Members, let us pray in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Thank you so much. Loving Father, we thank you so much for the time that you have granted to us, for the ideas, for the discussion we have had that has been successful. We pray that you continue guiding us as our circle moves on. Through Christ our Lord, amen.
Amen. Thank you, EC Chair and your team. And I thank all those people who have been able to attend the Zoom for hearing about our nominees, what they have to talk to us. Again, tomorrow, please log in to listen to the rest of the nominees so that we get ready to vote. The members that
Bye.
Bye.